stand-up comedy dates. How about that? You thought that was a produced piece? You thought that was production? No, that was me doing it live. Suck it, terrestrial radio. I'll do this shit on a podcast. I do my own production. Stand-up comedy dates. That's right. Stand-up comedy, guys. Here's some dates for you. If you're listening right now, this Wednesday, when this comes out, the Sit Down Zoom podcast comes out on Wednesday, July 28th, 7:30, and you're in Port Charlotte, near Fort Myers. I'll be headlining the Vista Comedy Theater, 7:30 show. I suggest get there a little early and grab some food. Great food. I can't wait to eat the filet, but it's one show only. If you can't make that show, travel 30 minutes north, Friday and Saturday, July 30th and 31st. I will be in at the Laugh-In Comedy Cafe with the great Jim Florentine, 3 shows. So get your tickets. Come on, special guest. I don't know, whatever comics say for you to show up, do it. And get there early, people, because I guarantee by Saturday, this will be gone. You see this? You watching the video? That's Silk City hot sauce. That's the #1 selling hot sauce at Silk City. It's Z-Man's Mango Madness, Florida's greatest tropical sauce. Get yourself a bottle. If you can't make the shows, go to silkcityhotsauce.com, put in the promo code ZUMOC, not only get 15% off your order, but Jeff will throw in a 3 bottle of something. I don't know what he's throwing a free bottle in these days. Stickers. I know you get some stickers. It was the cherry Ciroc. I don't know. He's got some new flavors. Like I said, all natural, no added filling. If you like hot sauce, like I love hot sauce. Love it. In fact, I just marinated my chicken breast yesterday, and it gives it that extra sting, or that extra whatever that thing is. Just give it a shot. Give it a try. I know some people have been hitting me up, sending me photos of them with their Silk City. That's great. I love the enthusiasm. I love the product. So go pick yourself up a bottle. Hey, you want to sponsor the podcast? You want to be a presenting sponsor like Lucy Stewart with Perry Skincare, Jeff Levine with Silk City Hot Sauce? You could be a $100 sponsor. All you got to do, send me a message. We'll first sign up for the $100 tier. Send me a message, and I will push and pimp your product better than anybody. But I want to get behind it. I want to believe in it. I don't want to fake the funk. I want to come correct. So give me your best pitch. Are you running for a campaign? Did you invent something? Are you out there? Are you a little entrepreneur? Are you a comedian that needs promoted? Hit me up. Let me check out your stuff. Get your word out there. Let's get it happening, guys. And by the way, sign up to the Patreon, guys. Sit Down Zumach, patreon.com/sitdownzumach for as little as $3. $3. That's it. 12 quarters, $3. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting around for? Listen, I bring this up every fucking podcast. My guy, love him to death. Happy for his success. Tim Dillon, who's been on this podcast, he's making $155,000 a month on Patreon. That's not including live reads or his live shows or his merchandise. So could you please kindly sign up for $3, please? Come on. Help the Z-Man out. Let's hit 200 by the end of August. Let's make this happen. $3. Was that kid in Better Off Dead? I want my $2, the paper boy. So sign up if you can. And if you can't, please hit subscribe on my YouTube page, Sit Down Zumach. And by the way, for all the you Misery Loves Company fans, we're still doing the football podcast. So I know some people were asking. So there's the exclusive. Misery Loves Football. Sign up for that Patreon too. We're going into the football season, talking to a presenting sponsor right now. Excited for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do more interaction with the fans too this time around, since, you know, we kind of got our footing, and we want to have some fun. Maybe do like some more gambling. Let's do some gambling, guys. As you guys might know, I started gambling, sports gambling. Probably not a good idea, but I like to trade one vice for another. So let's go into gambling. Drinking never worked out for me. I'm not very good at that. I earned all the awards with drinking. I'm very decorated in the world of drinking when it comes to charges. So I think it's time to move on to sports gambling, and let's see what happens. I'm a train wreck of a human being, guys, but that's the Z-Man. That's Florida's Most Wanted. Today's guest is my friend, Ashley Cummings. If you're a Misery Loves Company fan, we had her on a couple months ago to tell her story. As you might know, she's the sister of 1ee Cummings, who is a former friend of mine. I started comedy right around the same time 1ee Cummings did in LA. We're doing all the same mics. We fell out of touch. Not a big fan of her sister. I don't think she's a big fan. It'd be great if they can reconcile. I kind of feel for her because I have a half brother that I don't talk to and I haven't talked to in years. And it just happens. And family shit happens. I wish I had that close, tight knit family, but I never knew what that was. We grew up in chaos. So I feel for her. I feel for her and her situation, but she's also a great person, very entertaining, easy on the eyes. But I hope you enjoy the conversation, and we're gonna catch up with Ashley, and we'll find out if anything happened since her last MLC appearance, and we'll go from there. But enjoy this week's episode. Please leave a 5-star review on the iTunes if you get the chance, and sign up to that Patreon, guys. $3, $3. That's a wrap. Enjoy. Oh, yeah. It's the Sit Down Zumach podcast. It's me, the Z-Man, Florida's greatest, coming live and direct from Tampa, Florida with my pal, Ashley Cummings. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Chad.
Were you in Venice?
So nice to be here.
Are you in Venice right now?
I am. That's correct.
So what's the homeless situation like out there?
It's very kind of up and down. It's bizarre. Like, I've seen a lot of what I guess people call the homeless industrial complexes.
Yeah, right.
Like, were you gonna say something?
No. Go. I'm just.
Did we lose audio? Basically, I don't know if you know a lot about Gavin Newsom and like the billions of dollars they've been given over the last 2 years, in excess of $2 billion.
Yeah.
They built 137 units, Chad. So then there's this whole, I'm like understanding like all this stuff. Then there's this whole thing with a councilman named Mike Bonin, who basically is Venice's council. We don't even have our own police force. So they literally bus homeless people over here to keep Santa Monica clean. And like I've watched a lot of stuff in real life and then like documentaries and stuff, and it's like it's really sad. They're blaming a lot of these fires recently on the homeless, but it's actually, I think, other people, because they'll burn like a place where camps have been, and then literally the next morning there's trees with like a gate around it. So it's a very weird, it's an odd thing, but right now, it's funny you ask, the last 3 or 4 days, they've been moving and cleaning, but there's so many weird rules. Like everyone's off the boardwalk, so now everyone's all these tents are on the beach.
That is odd.
Like on the actual sand, because that's like a public place. It's a difficult problem. It wouldn't be difficult if politicians didn't steal so much money.
Yeah, I mean, I hear about all the money that's going into these, and they're not doing anything about it.
You have no idea, love. They had in excess of $2 billion since 2019 through 2021 to build housing, to provide resources, etc. They built 147 units. One of the places was $5 million. It's down the street from my house. I don't know if you can Google it. It's the corner of Rose and Main Street, and it's called the Bridge Home. My friend is in construction. He builds houses. He goes, Ashley, that's no more than 500 grand. It's like a few trailers, and they spent $5 million on it. It's like a few trailers that fits like 80 people. And
City will expand homeless services.
It's a very interesting thing, because police don't come. I heard like a rapper on the boardwalk. He's like, yo, order food, call the cops, see which one comes first. And I think they let a lot of things happen and kind of come later. Apparently they have it was funny because they have a new, what Bonin's after 2 years of, on top of that, everything before COVID, but since the lockdowns and stuff, it's like a human rights issue, you know, to say the least. But they had I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was going to say about them.
You were talking about the new
But it's
project.
okay.
It's all yeah. I mean,
Yeah, no, it was something. If it was important, yeah. But my heart goes out to a lot of them. You know, I don't know if you heard about Echo Park.
I used to live near there. What about it?
Did you know that I've never been to the park, but there's like a really famous park there that they filmed like so many movies. Do you know
Yeah.
that park?
Yeah. I used to live near there.
When you lived there, was it like a homeless encampment?
I mean, there's always homeless,
What
but
years were you here?
what's that?
What years were you in LA?
I initially moved there in 2004 and I was there till 2006, but then I moved back in late 2017 and I left right before COVID hit in 2020.
Well, I read a report somewhere that between 2011 and 2019, I'm sorry, 2010 and 2019, homeless had gone up, and it has been for a while now, the homeless capital of the world, Los Angeles, but that it went up 75%.
Jesus Christ.
Between 2015 and 2019.
Wow.
Like that's got to be intelligent design, you know? It's wild. There's so many homeless people here.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't handle it before
I mean, it's okay. I mean, I'm used to it, but what?
I said COVID-19 job losses will worsen in LA homelessness. They're
Why
saying
don't you put Venice Beach homelessness, and then you know what I always do because of YouTube and how they are so weird with filtering. I mean, with censoring, I always filter upload date and do like the newest first because they delete so much stuff. But
they're trying to control the
you know,
narrative.
the thing is, it's just exorbitant amounts of money that are unaccounted for. And oh, right, this is what I remember I was going to tell you. So Bonin, after 2 years, this councilman that everyone kind of I guess thinks gets paid or whatever, to take care of Santa Monica and kind of let Venice be a shithole per se. So his solution is that now 5 days a week, a fire truck will be going around Venice Beach from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Most of those guys are sleeping, you know, like even like this fireman was like, yeah, I think it might be helpful if our hours were at least in the evening and some weekends. I mean, it's no joke. About a month ago, a woman's house was set on fire and her dog was inside and
wow.
And died.
Wow. So are you going to stay out there because you moved out there because of your sister, right?
To Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Like I love Venice. It's the only place like I don't like LA really at all. I was living in Miami Beach. I love Florida.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
I lived there for 11 years. Yeah, I moved out here and I was like, what the fuck? It's cold, it's dirty.
Yeah.
But Venice is like my home. I love it here and I feel safe here. And it's kind of funny juxtapose, even with the homeless stuff, you know, it's still, I don't know, it's not Hollywood or West Hollywood. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, but in Echo Park, I heard that, I don't know if when you were there, it apparently became like they're calling near Venice Skid Row's, you know, because it's on Rose Avenue and they're like saying like Skid Row, you know, Skid Row. So they said Echo Park became like a Skid Row because during COVID, all these things were halted. They couldn't move anyone.
Right.
So more people became homeless and then nobody was allowed to move anyone because it was shelter in place. And so Echo Park apparently was just completely, like a few months ago, you can look it up. You should look it up, actually. I'd like to see if you want to do that cool thing that you do. but they cleared them all out. They cleared the whole park, and nobody knows where the homeless went. Like, people are saying, like, what happened to the homeless? Where'd they go?
Oh, great. My internet's down. Never mind.
There's a bit of a delay. Sorry.
That's all right.
But you know, it's a tough situation because you think about a lot of things. Like, Jeff Bezos just flew a cock to the moon. Like, why can't we help some people out? You know?
Yeah, it's true. It's, I mean, as I get older and I realize how corrupt the politicians are, and everyone's just out for power and greed, and they'll do anything to get ahead. It's just, you know, including my industry of comedy.
I beg you. Yeah, I was gonna say it's sort of you're gonna encounter it in any field, but that's just guaranteed when it comes to politics. But yeah, it's hard. You know, I know that you just recently had like a, you know, an amicable separation from a work partner, but you know, things can get. I mean, you would call it an amicable separation, right?
Well, it's pending.
Well, I love you guys. I love you individually. I love you together. I wish you always all the abundance. And
well, that's the whole thing about our show, is it's always drama. So you don't know what the next chapter is going to be. I mean, I don't know. There's some talks of me coming back. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
what do you feel about you're going to be great no matter what, and you have everything to look forward to no matter what. But what's your dream? Like, how do you visualize what would make you the happiest? Like, I listened, because I signed on to your Patreon. So I listened yesterday to you and that guy, Tim, who I really like. I don't know who would say that they don't like that show. You
said Tony Mazer.
Sorry?
Tony Mazer.
That you said a few people didn't like the Monday show with Tim.
Oh, there was one of my.
Is that his name, Tim?
Tony.
It's on your Patreon.
Tony.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
It's Tony. His name's Tony. Yeah, I don't know. You can't hear me?
No, I can hear you.
It's Tony. His name's Tony.
Tony. I like him.
Yeah,
but I was listening.
Yeah, no, a friend of mine, well, he was a very, very generous supporter. He just hated it, and he deleted his pledge. I was just like, I can't pander to everybody. I can't.
Well, yeah, you'll never, ever be able to. Even if you wanted to and you endeavored to, you would never, ever be able to make everyone happy, you know? Yeah. So, but I quite liked him.
I was like when I'm on stage, like I have shows this weekend. There's going to be someone in that room that doesn't like me. It's just inevitable.
There might be 10, you know? Yes, tomorrow, 28th. I don't know if this is going to come out before then.
It is. Today.
Today's my birthday, and tomorrow you're going live.
Is this your birthday?
That's what I wrote. And I was like, he's not going to even understand. I was like, the banging upstairs, and if I can ask for a favor. Anyway, yes, I'm 40 today.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't know that. How about that?
What's that?
I said, I didn't know that. Happy birthday. That's great.
Thank you. I didn't know either when I said yes, and then I realized it, and I was like, that's perfect. But I was listening to you on Tony, and you were talking about certain amounts of years, and obviously, you know, I know a little bit about the comedy ins and outs and stuff, but where do you, like, I feel like you feel like you've done a lot of the, and I know that you have, like, the footwork, or the, what do you call it, like in yoga, you know, hitting the pavement, like you've done your dues, paying your dues, or whatever it's called in the comedy world.
Downward facing dog.
Like, you're at a precipice now.
Warrior 1, downward facing dog. I've done it all.
Hold on. Now I can hear you. What?
I'm naming out yoga poses right now for no reason. No, dude, I've been doing stand-up comedy like this. I started with your sister. Like, we used to do the same open mics together.
You have to give me an impression of when she dissed you.
Did I ever tell you the story?
You briefly mentioned it. You said that, like, you guys were somewhere at the Comedy Store or something, and basically she pretended she didn't know you.
So we started around the same time, and we would do the same mics. I mean, the one thing I will say,
like, when around, like 2000, she acts like she's been on stage forever, but it's like she was like, I think what, 2008, 2007, 6?
Well, we were 2004, 2005 is when I was banging around. And I don't know if she was around then, but I remember seeing her at the shows.
For a second, I just pictured you banging my sister. It's 2005, around then I was banging her.
No, not like that kind of banging. But one thing is, when I first met Whitney, she was very charming and likable, and she was really cool. And I would see her around.
Do you think she was changed or something happened to her? Or do you think she just turned famous and turned into an asshole?
I think she got sucked up in fame and Hollywood. So it was around 2008. Jeff Ross was having a DVD release party, just to give you an idea, DVD release.
Just to date it. That's awesome. I love Jeff Ross.
Yeah, and then we were, and it was like, it was a cool little thing off of La Cienega. And I was there, and I remember Dane Cook was very, very, very popular at the time. And Dane was there.
He was like always at, every night he was at Laugh Factory.
Yeah. And I'm there at the party, and I'm with a comedian named Ben Glebe.
I know Ben Glebe. How do I know Ben Glebe?
I know him. Yeah, he's a guy who's been around for a while. And I saw your sister was in talking to Dane and some other high profile person that I forgot. And I go, oh, I know Whitney.
It's not high profile, but okay.
And I go, I know Whitney. So I go up and go, hey, Whitney, how's it going? And she kind of like looks past me, like she doesn't see me, and I'm right in front of her, and she turns her back to me. I go, what the fuck? So I start trashing her on my.
Did she do this?
That's a pretty good impression. That's kind of how it went.
No, I mean, it would be like this, like she pretended she looked and then turned around to make it clear that you do not don't approach me when I turn my back.
Yeah, she kind of put me into my. So I remember I start trashing her on MySpace that night. I go, Whitney.
Wait, MySpace was still around?
Yeah, because I was pissed. I go, well, that's fucked up, man. I don't like that.
I'm thinking about when I had a MySpace account. That's awesome.
And
so
then,
you're like on MySpace, like fuck you.
And then I got a radio show back home in Cleveland. It was on iHeartRadio. It was a pretty high profile talk show, and I was getting paid a lot of money, and I would trash her all the time on it. And it got back to her, and she sent me like a message. She's like, "What's your problem with me?" So I still have her email and her phone number and everything. But
so that was the last communication. Was what, circa 2008?
No, it was actually probably 2019. I was walking out of the Comedy Store, and she was standing there like right, and she just gave me the dirtiest look, and I just waved.
So when she wrote to you, "What's wrong with you?" Did you ever write back?
No, I didn't. I wanted to keep it going. It was from her Mac email address. You know what I'm talking about?
Whitney 5.
Yeah. So I was like, at least she still has my email, I guess.
Hey.
But
yeah, no, and like you said, there's so many stories like that. I mean, I don't know a lot of them, but you know how many people wrote me? 3 people wrote me after we did the MLC podcast that she had stole their writing.
You know, that's
fucking gnarly.
I heard there was a rumor going around early on that Whitney bought her first 10 minutes because she skyrocketed quickly, and she was already in the Laugh Factory like when we were all open micers. I go, someone said she bought her first couple minutes. That's what I hear. I don't know if it's true. It's all alleged.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So I just heard she bought her first couple minutes, and she got passed pretty quickly at the Laugh Factory. But I don't hate her by any means. I think it's messed up what she did to you. I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I've released, it was actually pretty cool because I had already released, everything around my dad's like death anniversary. I kind of, I made like some videos and I wrote her boyfriend and stuff. And then after we did that, I let it go. And I'm just like, I kind of feel sorry for her, but not even, you know what I mean? I don't care about her at all. And I think that's a great place to be. I'm working, that's not natural, but I'm working on understanding that I don't know, Chad, you have to understand she's my little sister by 13 months. like the stuff that transpired and the like orchestrated, cruel and unusual litany of situations that she set up directly to directly and negatively affect me and my father and my mom. It's mind-boggling. Like, I kind of don't believe it. Like, I was just talking to my mom yesterday. She hasn't had therapy since, when did we do MLC? Like in May?
Yeah.
They do 6-week chunks. So an off 6 weeks. So, and she's not paying for the time in between, but it's been now like 3 months. Like, you know, she doesn't answer the phone. Like, this stuff is fucked up, and I don't want to get into it too much, but these are facts. And to be running around like an asshole you are and spending the money that you do, it's like, take care of mom. I invited my mother to live with me a couple days ago, and I think she was just kind of overwhelmed. And at first I was like, why doesn't she want to live with me? I mean, I only have like a 1-bedroom, whatever, but we'd make it work. And you know, she just sits in a room, and I realized, like, she's been in this situation for 10 years, where she's in this nursing home, waiting for Whitney, not getting calls, you know what I mean? Staring at the wall, like, being yelled at if she asks for anything, telling everyone. I thought my mother had dementia. She doesn't have dementia. Like, Whitney was going around telling people that.
Yeah,
like, just weird stuff. So it's like all the stuff combined, honestly, she
said that on a
like
podcast. I recently just heard a podcast with her. She said she had dementia.
I beg your pardon?
I recently heard a podcast with Whitney on it, and she said your mom had dementia.
She doesn't. I thought that for 3 years. I thought my mother had dementia. So I didn't ask her a lot of stuff. We had like a lot of talks lately that, like, no, that's another thing. When you tell people that your mom has dementia, including like your family, she also, which was against the law, told the facility that they couldn't share my mother's medical history with me. I found my mom with no shoes on in a psych ward for 3 fucking days. I went there every day. Whitney didn't go there one time. This is just one situation. It's fucking gnarly. And there's no excuse. Like, in my head, Chad, for so many years, like, through my dad, it was like, okay, she's, you know, even, and both my parents still make excuses for her. She's busy on this, she's working on that. Okay, like, I'm not running a fucking yoga studio, like, I'm not doing shit, you know, but you guys are the most important thing. And, you know, it was very quickly evident that she wasn't going to help dad at all. And they were going to make him a ward of the state of Georgia. I had to find a fucking attorney that would work for free. Like, he was in a facility that had brown water coming out of it. Like, it was even gnarly for like somebody that has like a normal. I spent every last penny that I had. I had $108,000 when my dad's stroke hit. It's really hard for me to understand a person like that, and it happens to be my sister. And to hear anyone clapping for her, knowing that this is the truth of who she is, I'm still trying to process it. But it's like, and then I think about, like, someone wrote to me, Ashley, like, I don't follow your sister anymore. They like follow my channel and they do meditation and stuff. They're like, I've given her so much money over the years, and like, I always had this weird feeling, like, and that's another thing. It's like, you know, you have a responsibility as, like, whatever. I don't really want to talk about her. No, that was sort of like in my head, I was like, let's not talk about her too much, except for that.
Well, it is. It is a continuation.
You know, really,
it is a continuation from MLC, because we wanted to check in to see if anything came out of that. You kind of more or less, you know, calling her out, saying, "Hey, you took this money, this watch, and nothing
you know,
happened."
She's seen it.
100%.
Nothing. I heard that she was wearing the watch. People sent me pictures of her wearing the watch out. I haven't heard anything from her. You know, she's seen it.
Well, I'm Facebook friends with her still, and I had posted it, so I'm sure she saw it in the feed or something.
She has seen it. I mean, do you think there's any chance she hasn't seen it?
Oh, I got texts. I'm not going to name the names of the comics. They're like, holy shit. They're like, I didn't realize how evil Whitney was. I was like, eh. So yeah.
I didn't realize it either. And I wasn't even trying to make her evil, as you know. You know what I mean?
You were just telling the story.
And you know what I was doing also? Giving her yet another option to do the right thing. To put on her big girl pants and say, hey, I didn't make the best choices and maybe I was wrong. I don't even expect an apology, but at least fucking you take a shit on the floor, clean it up. And if you're not going to be that kind of person, don't be so duplicitous and such a hypocrite, because that's just I don't know. I don't know if she's a narcissist or just complete psychopath or what, but
she's definitely a narcissist.
It's really not my business, and I'll never care. And also, by the way, if she's watching, she's no longer allowed. I don't want anything. You know, the 2 million that it said on Dad's thing. But she had an opportunity with me to fix some of her karma, and she, you know, did nothing. Her usual thing in the last 10 years, she does nothing, the wrong thing, or the opposite thing that I say. Mostly when I'm like in the hospital room with my mom or my dad.
As a 38-year-old lady, do you think it's normal to dye your hair blue?
What is that? But you know what's weird? I noticed like a lot of people have like dyed their hair different colors more than like I've noticed since like the 90s. So I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of trends are you starting? And she's like this permanent victim culture, like ambassador, you know?
My personal feelings, I hate what she did to Chris when the body was still, there was no due process. And I publicly called her out on that.
Wasn't that an obvious attention grab?
What's that?
I mean, I don't know. Wasn't that an obvious attention grab? Like, I don't know how her and Chris were, but they were like the closest forever.
Yeah, I mean, there was something to be said about that. I just don't like when that whole cancel culture thing happened, but I didn't like the grandstanding, and I didn't like how she just threw him under the bus. Like you said it too.
And for just pretending like she's had time to process it. You've been processing that for 10 years and you never had a problem with it until something became public and then you jumped on him. But like I said in the post, I wasn't surprised. The girl will jump on her family and throw them under the bus and fire and kill them and leave them in facilities for free. Why would she not do it to her best friend for a spot on the Hollywood Reporter or whatever?
Yeah, I mean,
and I remember one of the stupidest things, like any of like my long-term friends, like they'll say, like, why doesn't Whitney talk to you? I'm like, shut up, because she's a fucking asswipe. I don't know. And then my friend Katie, which was my friend from like high school, she's like, yeah, sorry. She's like, yeah, by the way, why is she attacking her best friend? I'm like, who's her best friend? The last person I thought it would be was Chris, and then I saw the Chris thing, and that's when I called his friend and posted for him, because I was like, look, everyone needs to calm down. Innocent until proven guilty.
Let me pull
this.
Yeah,
what is that? And then I heard her hair was blonde.
Well, here's some of
Like,
my past tweets right here. This is what I tweeted. I'm going to read it right now. This is from November 3rd, 2020. The best part of the Comedy Store documentary is when Mike Binder called Whitney Cummings to make sure she was okay to feature for Louis C.K. Whitney says, to have a conversation about the Comedy Store and not have Louis C.K. in it is ridiculous. I know an actual paid regular. She literally threw her friend under the bus within 48 hours of the allegations that held no weight and came out to be false. She actually made the situation much worse with her statement. This clip above shows that she's full of shit. And it's basically her defending Louis C.K. I can't play
her throw Louis C.K. under the bus. Well, yeah. She's like just a hypocrite. It's so weird. Like, whoever she's in front of, I just can't believe she hasn't been called out before.
And I
don't understand the pink and the blue hair and like what is that?
I don't know. I mean, obviously it's mental illness, but here's the thing. I don't really have much juice. So whatever I say, Whitney doesn't give a shit. But at the same time, there's comics that they see through all the nonsense and they know what's bullshit and what's not. It just sucks that you had to deal with it. See, I have empathy for you in the situation because I have a half brother that I have no relationship with. He's a dick. When my mom died, he took the house, he took everything. Like he got a huge settlement and I got nothing in the will. He manipulated the will. So I'll never talk to the guy again. So I understand what it's like. I have empathy.
It's very selfish.
Yeah. So, your
And
situation.
do you miss having a relationship with him? Like, did you ever have a relationship with him when you were younger?
Yeah. When he was a kid, he was a good kid. And then he took a lot of my stepfather's qualities, the bad ones, and he kind of morphed into that. So he kind of morphed into an asshole adult. And I have no relationship with him. I haven't spoken to him since my mother's funeral, and I barely spoke to him there.
I think that's probably a blessing for you because it sounds like he's a really selfish and self-serving person.
He is.
But let's talk. Sorry.
No, I just cut you off. Sorry.
No, I did. I want to talk about your career. You picked up what?
You want to talk about my career? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, because we got sidetracked. But what were you going to say? You picked up what? I said it sounds like it's a blessing because he sounds like a very self-serving and selfish kind of person.
Oh yeah, he picked up my stepfather's worst qualities and he kind of turned into that guy. And it's unfortunate because he was a sweet kid, but even though it's a family member, like even Kevin with Neil, like he has, even though it's a family member, there's still, you move on, life's short, you meet different people, and it's probably a blessing Whitney's not in your life.
Yeah, and the thing for me about that is that for better or worse, I always thought there must be something bad about me. Like I told my sister, I had this like black hole of shame. Like I didn't know why she wouldn't even speak to me, and whatever. So basically, it's only been 6 months that I actually understand that she's not right or whatever it is, like, and that the whole time she was scared of me or whatever she says, like, like I was embarrassed, like I was trying to help you and I was mad. Which one was it? I'm like, okay, 6 years in, like, anyway, but so I think like just knowing after this past Christmas, like when she ghosted me and then like wrote to one of the nurses in the hospital to ignore me, that I was when she was like in fucking Utah and my mom was in critical care, she said ignore her, she's an addict, an active addiction, it's all just abusive nonsense.
By the way,
this was 6 months ago after we talked over Christmas, and she apologized for everything and said she wanted to spend the rest of her life making it up to me. And I was like, whoa, like that is that I can't even, like the woman sent me a screenshot. And so I think as much as like when I was on the show with you guys, and I do stand up, the strongest I ever feel is when I stand up for my father's honor. But, the fighter is like, that girl I don't need anymore, and I'm not like nothing, she's not worth my peace, you know what I mean? And that's that. Yeah, so it absolutely is a blessing she's not in my life, but I wasn't able to emotionally process that because I always waited for my sister. I wanted to save her. I heard she was under MK Ultra mind control last summer. And one of the things I called myself out about last summer, I think I told you guys, I heard that and I was gonna like go, like I wrote to Chelsea Handler. And I think the Neil thing is also another stupid thing of me trying to make an excuse for my sister. Like, Neil, you made a movie. What kind of friend would make a movie with a friend whose dad's dying? Whitney's grown-ass adult made those decisions. Whitney's adult ass self made those decisions, and yeah, but it's funny because I still find myself in a subconscious way thinking she's going to be normal or there's going to be some explanation for all this. But then I guess I'm still going through like the Kubler stages of loss with it, even though I know she's not
We always
for
like
my
to
life.
we always like to remind the audience the female brain made $19,000.
Wait, I was reading one of the comments that said like it's almost impossible or like very hard to make such a little amount.
Yeah, I mean, my used Honda was more expensive than the female brain.
No, but the amount of money put into it.
Yeah, I mean, just for what it generated. I mean, that's just not
No,
good.
right. That's hilarious. But wasn't it like a multi-million-dollar budget film?
I don't know what the budget is. Let me pull that up. I'm curious. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
I wouldn't even know how to find out. I literally just put that together when I was on the show with you guys, and I was like, really?
It doesn't say what the budget is.
Who? What? Like, not production house.
I guarantee it didn't make its money back. I'm just gonna say that. Yeah.
What studio? That's what I meant. What studio did it? I guarantee it spent a lot of money on it.
Production companies: Black Cycle Entertainment, Night and Day. It was an IFC film. It was distributed by IFC. It didn't do well. I know that.
Anyway, so what are you, like when you were talking on Tony yesterday, you're talking about how, like, I don't know, 10,000 or 20,000 or what those hours are, but like, where do you want to be? Are you excited about tomorrow night? Is like doing live shows?
Well, one of the things, about LA that I didn't like is like, there's a ton of Whitneys, a ton of Neils. I mean, I'm not a phony person, and I couldn't, as I get older, I get more genuine, and I value honesty more. So Hollywood, I'm not a good fit. That's why I moved out of there. I'm like, I don't do well here. I don't have that, whatever that gene is Whitney has, or that gene Neil has, I don't have it. So my thing is, I was at a crossroads. I'm like, what do I want to do? I still like doing stand-up. I still have like a little bit of a following. And I decided to move here because I was going to move to New York, but everything shut down. And I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm just doing live shows.
Tampa.
I gave myself a 2-year plan in New York, because I was up for a Sirius XM gig. I was up for Conan. I was doing all this stuff, and I wanted to fulfill those goals. And then when I turned 48, I was going to move to Florida because I liked it down here. I just like Tampa, Florida. I love the club here. There's a morning show. I have friends here. And
I'm just wondering what's up, because I went to University of Miami and lived there for a while, and I spent some time on the west coast of Florida, but you just know it better. It's much calmer and more chill.
Yeah, it's calmer. It's chill. I love the beach, and I love Clearwater, and it just was more my speed. It was almost like, all right, I did all this stuff. This is the second half of my life. Let's just, get old on the beach.
What's down there?
What's that?
What's the comedy club that's down there?
Well, there's a few comedy clubs, but my home club, Side Splitters. There's the Tampa Improv. They got Snappers. There's Coconuts and St. Beats. But there's a lot of comedy clubs, so you can actually just work Florida.
That's awesome, and like there's people there, but I bet more comedians are going to be moving that way. I mean, a lot have moved out of LA, but what I think, this is like an outside perspective, but a slightly inside perspective. That little group, I think Chris probably knows, whatever happened with Whitney, it was a blessing. But like Amy Schumer and Whitney Cummings, and it's like a very dark, and even I'm going to say Tim Dillon and Whitney, I see like a thing. I know they both like invested in Clubhouse early, and like I don't have anything against him, but I liked how he was like, I saw one thing and he called her out. He's like, and all the people's brains and all the people that watch this show's brains are broken. But he was actually being straight up with my sister and being honest, where everyone else kisses her ass. But now he's kind of kissing her ass.
I'm friends with Tim Dillon, and actually pretty good friends with him. And one thing that bothered me, she had him on the podcast, and she does this thing. I don't know if you noticed. she's like, I'm just using you to get better numbers, right? But she's being honest when she
That's
says it.
a narcissistic thing to say, and like she's hiding behind, I think, being a comedian. You know what I'm saying? Like she's like most comedians say that stuff, but they're not being serious. She's dead serious.
Yeah.
And that's dark and cold as fuck.
So I
But
think
who was it that said that too?
I'm Tim Dillon, and I can't speak for Tim, but I guarantee Tim is using Whitney like she's using him, and he knows it.
Yes. Agreed. I mean, I don't know. Actually, I don't know either of them that well. But yes, that's what I think. I guess that's what I was going to say. Like, because I feel things about people energetically. About you, I have such a good feeling. I can tell that you're authentic and honest, and I just want the best for you. You know, whatever. Burr, I feel like, has changed. I'm just randomly throwing out energetic feelings about people, but yeah, that's what I thought about Tim. But I was hoping he could be able to go his own way without having to use her.
I think he's just kind of playing the. I think he's just playing the game, and he deep down, he's a really good dude. Deep down, he struggled for a long time. He just got this fame and fortune just
as like it.
Yeah, just the last couple of years. So, I call it the Rogan bump because Rogan's like the new Johnny Carson. Like back in the day, you go on Johnny Carson, you get famous, but now it's Rogan. You go on Rogan, you get famous. And Tim got that, and he took advantage of that opportunity. But he's just playing the game, I think. But I think deep down inside, he doesn't really give a shit. I don't think he's like.
But very interesting that he was so close to Alex Jones.
Yeah,
that was one of the most interesting episodes I've ever seen. Was Alex Jones, Tim Dillon, and Rogan.
Yeah, and Rogan took all those guys to Austin. Now he's building like something up down there. So I don't know how the landscape's changed. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I knew I didn't have to be in LA anymore, and I kind of like that. And I have to be around normal people. I like comedians. I love them, but I also got to be around normal people because it is a grind, and it will wear on you. And the last thing I never want to turn into like a Neil or a Whitney. I don't want to be that type of person. I just don't like that.
What do you think it is, though? Because not everyone is like that. And I guess the most important thing is, and what's relevant for you, I think there's a new, emergence of comedy, like they're not they think they're relevant and the only things that matter. But I think the more literally days that pass and they're not realizing that because they're so out of touch, that 2021, everyone else is evolving around them, and they're just like, you know what I'm saying? They're in this kind of weird bubble. So I see not only just for comedy, but Hollywood, like a new Hollywood. Like I think the world is craving real.
Yeah, I think the pendulum's going to switch the other way. But I also believe, honestly, because I've watched a lot of my friends become millionaires in this profession, and you slowly start losing touch and forgot that hunger from when you were poor and just sleeping on couches, and you get disconnected. You just get totally disconnected. So I see that happening with your sister and other people. And like, there's a comic friend of mine. Well, he was Bert Kreischer. Like he's going through it right now. He's becoming more disconnected, and it's a narcissistic job. We get in front of people, like, listen to me on this microphone. I have the most important voice. So there's a level of narcissism to what we do. But my attraction to it has always been to creativity, of just coming up with funny ideas. I've always loved that portion of it. If I could just write for somebody else, I would do it. I don't necessarily have to be on that stage or in front of the camera. I don't need it. I enjoy doing it. It's fun, but other people get off on that power and just, that immediate that attention that you get from, afterwards, like you're bigger than life and people want to meet you and take photos and autographs, all that stuff.
You've honestly, that's never really been that for you. So what is do you write regularly, like every single day, or do you have a method with it?
No, I am, as I've gotten older, I've gotten lazier and lazier. I used to I still love coming up with new ideas and telling jokes. That's never going to go away, but it's a grind. It's totally a grind. And I fall in love with it, and then I'll get disconnected. It changes. It's constantly changing. I'm enjoying doing podcasting now. I like doing this more than anything. So
That's awesome.
it'd be great to get bigger. And I mean, you know how it is, like with your YouTube, when you were doing your YouTube channel, you're like, we found just your videos and we're like, oh, wait, she has something to say. And now you're starting to build like a little fan base with it. So that's great.
It's really cool to be of service in the way that each of us individually can. Like your craft is comedy and your background, and you know, the constant thing in life is change. So we have to just, it's funny because it's the one constant thing in life, but it's also probably one of the things that we most kind of feel funny about is change and like, but it's always evolving, I always feel like you can't make, you can make lateral moves. You have to keep moving. It might be a lateral move, worst case scenario, or you're going to go up, but if you stay stuck, then you go down, kind of thing.
Well, it's true.
But yeah, it's great. I mean, for me, I love being of service. So just to be of service to more people is super cool for me.
But you're right about evolving and changing. Like, for example, I just became Facebook friends with my first love, my ex-girlfriend from like 20 years ago. And
That's so cool.
And I was going through her photos, and she's divorced with 2 kids now. And I'm just
what did you think of
her? I just sent her a message and we just became friends. And I'm going through her profile and I'm like, this, at one point in my life, she meant everything to me. I was in love with this woman. And
it was your first love in high school?
First love right out of high school. And
serious girlfriend?
Yes, first serious girlfriend, first everything, but she was such a big part of my life. But I've lived so many lives since her. Like I've had different girlfriends and people come and go. It's like, so we have this huge thing, but we have this shared memory. We have this shared memory for the rest of our lives. But at one point, she meant everything to me, but it was so long ago. Like at the time, if you were to go back in time, like, dude, can you picture, like, I couldn't picture my life without her at one point, but now it's just like I lived a whole life away from her.
How is it to reconnect?
It's cool. It's like
she's divorced with 2 kids.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's just I don't have those feelings for her like I used to, like when I was a younger kid. But the feeling is, it's almost like when they bring back like the TV show Cobra Kai, like with the Karate Kid. It's like retro. It's cool. You just go back to another time.
I don't know that show, but I totally am a very nostalgic person, and definitely, go back to other times.
Do you remember?
I was actually thinking about that today. Sorry?
Do you remember the TV show Punky Brewster?
Yes.
They rebooted it, and everyone was going crazy because it was they remembered that show when they were kids, and it was like a retro vibe feeling. So you just go back to another time, like you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if my point's clear.
It is, but there's 2 points that I think could stem from it. One thing I wanted to bring up, and just because I think it's relevant. Have you heard that, you know how they like make old movies all the time? Like,
yeah.
And I think it was because somebody was telling me that they're going to make a new Beverly Hills Cop.
Really?
Or Beverly Hills Camp, or Beverly Hills, whatever. And somebody was saying that they do it every like 40 years or so as like a Matrix thing to like take you back to this time, but also have the same stories told. So, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But it is interesting. Like, movies can do it, songs can do it, smells can do it.
Yeah, I mean, they're a part of your life. And
sorry, what about the reboot of Punky Brewster? Sorry, did I go off track?
No, we're on the same page, which is how it takes you back to a.
Oh, right. You're saying, does that make sense? Oh, and the second thing I wanted to say is like that there's actual like ways to manipulate time that I think people are more understanding, like in terms of like, okay, so you know that feeling of like when Punky Brewster was on, or what was the other show you mentioned?
Cobra Kai, which is a
Karate Kid.
Yeah.
So that state when you're watching it, right? That state, like that contentment, that focus, that feeling of happiness, like that stuff that's going on inside you. And that sustained is kind of the end goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
I think for all of us. whatever way it is. Like I like to meditate, people watch movies, you know, you're in a state of, there's an absence of disruption, there's no stress, you know, like that's a perfect activity, I guess.
Yeah. So to put it all nicely in a bow, becoming friends with my first love on Facebook, like it took me back to a simpler time and a better place. And if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you remember like before like pagers?
Oh, this was like pager days when I was seeing her. Yeah, for sure.
I'm looking at phones that are not like smartphones, but yeah, I was thinking about that because, you know, they cut movies differently too, so it changes the way people think. Like back, you know, 20 or 30 years ago in a movie, like somebody would go, like the girl would go to the guy's house and you would see at least a little bit of her in the car. Now it's just like, you know, you see the phone and then she's at the guy's house. And so our minds sort of start to pattern that way. Like, you know, we get to Starbucks and it's like, where's the coffee? You know, and it's like life is not like that. But I think we're in such an interesting time to be able to be aware of that. What's real and what's not real. And there's so much, I think, material and need now for comedy and for you.
Well, I know one thing. I think 30 years from now, you and I need to remake the female brain so we can.
Yes.
And we'll go back to another time. I mean, I can use $19,000.
Okay, we would do so much better than that, and you know it. We should make the male brain. I don't know. We'll make anything, and it will do better than $19,000.
Ashley, plug your YouTube and whatever else you got before we roll out.
My Patreon, please, is so helpful. It's Ashley Cummings Yoga 420, and then my YouTube channel is Ashley Cummings. I'm sorry, Patreon is Ashley Yoga 420. YouTube is Ashley Cummings Yoga 420.
All right, I am pulling up your. I'm going to sign up to your Patreon.
Sorry, there's a delay.
Thank you. No, I'm going to sign up to your Patreon because you signed up to mine. And
okay. Yes.
And yeah, definitely, if you get the chance, sign up to Ashley's Patreon. Follow her on. She's always making YouTube videos, and she's positive. She's all about positivity. So support her. And for everybody else in the out there, we'll see how the MLC drama unfolds. But thank you for your support, and thanks for your continued support.
I love you guys both. Yeah, I hope it's not drama, but it's just a growing experience.
It's just one of those. Kevin's podcast has been a soap opera since it started, so it's just part of the story.
He's such a great person. I think this is also going to be part of the story, one way or the other.
Well, we'll see. But thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys. Chat with us. Thank you for having me, love.
Right back at you, babe.